I don't care that you regret who you voted for. Go take that up with your mama. So this video is kind of a rant, kind of a song. I'm raw dogging it a little bit because it's just something that I've been seeing on TikTok happening a lot recently. This was so off the cuff, I'm using a real mic. Do you understand how crazy that is? And I can't not talk about it. Like, I just feel like I have to get it out. I have to rant or I'm actually going to explode. Ever since a certain someone who shan't be named has gotten safely tucked in to the Orange House for what I can only pray is gonna be his final time in there, and for what will potentially be the longest 4 years of any of our lives, I've been seeing a lot of people, I feel like particularly my fellow sisterins from the mountains of Caucasus, looking for what the streets are calling some atonement for their sins. Now, it's widely known that about 50% of a certain demo of women voted for Mr. Orange, and it's caused a lot of contention with how we're going to move forward in the next couple years amongst women in that demo and amongst women in that demo and like everybody else. And it's causing a lot of contention because those of us who are sisterin not from the mountains of Caucasus, from the mountains of West Africa, but a lot of us have been kind of feeling like recently we kind of just want to sit this one out. You know, I saw someone on TikTok say this isn't our lesson to learn. So good luck, Charlie. And I understand that it comes across a little bitter and it makes people a little bit angry to hear it, but it kind of is exhausting when it feels like you've been warning people for a really long time about doing things that will directly play into theirs and everybody else's demise, and then they still do it, and then it does, and then they kind of come running to you for help and forgiveness afterwards. That's kind of what it feels like right now. It feels like a bunch of these women casted their vote for the Orange Man and have just come to the realization that, oh, he hates y'all too, and are spinning the block looking for forgiveness and solidarity and allyship. I don't want to be one of those people on the left that's just like, oh, the doors are closed. No, that doesn't make sense. But I will have a human moment with y'all and explain why it might take some time for people from the left to trust you at all. Now, what I'm saying will apply to a lot of demographics, but I feel like the predominant one that I see these messages coming from, at least on TikTok, are white women. Now, let's take a minute, let's take a beat, let's take a step back, because the comments that I'm talking about are the ones where people leave long little blog posts and essays talking about how much they regret having voted for the Orange, how much they regret voting for the man that was found liable for sexual assault and not the woman who was highly qualified to do the position that she was running for. It has this kind of energy of like, back in the day, I used to eat so many chickens, like so many. Yeah, no, I killed a lot of chickens, but now I only eat fish. And I can appreciate making big mistakes, you know what I mean? I feel like I've been there. I too have gone out and ordered dessert after dinner that was like cookie a la mode and didn't take a lactate before I left the house that morning. So I feel like I completely understand the exact emotion you're going through right now. Something about it just feels a little disingenuous because it feels kind of like they're just realizing that their domino finally fell. Because I feel like something that's very popular that Black women have been saying for a long time is that none of us are free until all of us are free. And maybe what that means just has never really resonated for people who've never felt unfree before, and now it's finally starting to click. So you didn't pay attention, or rather maybe didn't care about all these issues, forgetting that if you have any marginalization, it's not in your best interest to not give a fuck about the rights of others, because anybody who will debate my rights will eventually come to debate yours. Having more of an allegiance to your whiteness than your womanhood might have come back to bite you in the ass, and that sucks. It just kind of feels like getting white women on board as allies has been like one of the hardest demographics to get to realize that like you're marginalized too. But I don't want to come from it from a fighting people out kind of a way, because now more than ever, if people are realizing the error of their ways and want to become more left politically, I really want you to do that. But I just want to be honest about why you might not be feeling as welcome as you might anticipate right off the bat, and why you professing your ex-racism to a bunch of marginalized people is not always gonna land. The disconnect has always felt like they have been more committed to upholding the privileges that come with their whiteness than allyship with people who also share their marginalization, being that they are a woman in the patriarchy. And based on the statistics, it seems like roughly half of y'all are holding on tight to that whiteness. And the thing about marginalization, which it seems like some of y'all have now had to learn the hard way, like all of us had to, is you're never going to benefit from trying to align yourself more with your oppressor than people who are sharing your oppression. And like I said, because I don't want to come at this at an angle of trying to be exclusionary, because I want to encourage people who are moving left politically to do so, a little bit interesting watching a group that might have literally forgot that they were marginalized realize that, and how that shapes their expectations expectations of what's gonna happen with how they're gonna interact with other marginalized people, and people who, frankly, based on how they voted, feel quite literally unsafe with them, attacked by them even. And welcome into the country club of marginalization, my Caucasian queens. The food is incredible, but the amenities suck. I can't understand why they do it, because I think that for a lot of them, coming to terms with the fact that they might be on the left politically now could be quite lonely and quite jarring. I remember I saw a video a super long time ago on Twitter where a girl was crying because her brother called her a liberal. Like, in some of these spaces, the word liberal is an insult. And I can't lie, the word liberal is also an insult to me. Don't call me a liberal. But they probably are also looking around at their husbands, their family, their brothers that are all conservative and asking themselves, wait a minute, who are my allies? Because all the white men in my life that have always been conservative that also voted for Trump voted for a man who actually doesn't care if I live or die. Also, I've kind of firmly separated myself from being in allyship with other oppressed people because of my allegiance to my whiteness and white men. I think the point of the confession is kind of like looking for forgiveness and atonement in the search of community and allyship. Like, I don't know what you do when you realize that, oh, I've not spent any time caring about any issues that didn't impact me, and I now might have voted for an so they end up in the comments of some black TikToker. And it always has this energy of like, I, an ex-racist, an ex-Trumper, an ex-conservative, am now here with you coloreds. Like, it has like just a YouTube apology energy. It just don't feel right. I don't know. Because I don't know if it's intentionally meant to read like a confession, but I went to Catholic school my whole life, so I know a regular to a confessional booth when I see one. And I've been trying to articulate the feeling that this gave me, because despite the fact that I understand its intention, which I do believe is well-meaning, why does it feel so unbelievably uncomfortable? And I think it's because it has this kind of energy of like,
okay, so I have to retell this part because it didn't make sense when I explained it in the video, but the example I gave was to imagine you were out on a date with someone and they started giving you crazy detail about how horrifically toxic they used to be and how mean they used to be to their ex and like all their fun manipulation tactics they used to use, and how you would feel about that person moving forward, like if you'd ever want to see them again.
And while in the back of your head you might feel good about that, you might be like, that's sick, I'm glad you don't do that anymore, a big part of you is also gonna be like, I don't know if I ever want to see this dude ever again. While I do think that they probably do feel real regret, it feels inevitably super self-serving, because it just kind of reads like you spent your entire life not caring about anybody but yourself and your own interests, and it makes people question your intentions in the space. Why are you all of a sudden on the left? Is it still just totally self-serving? Because it feels like you're losing some rights and you kind of want the people who are always complaining and always protesting and fighting for rights to now fight for yours, despite the fact that you've never given a about any of ours. Like, are you only starting to care because the alt-right has gotten so alt-right that it's actually finally impacting you? And I'm just not sure if that revelation about your ex-racist past is doing what you think it is. It also kind of makes me wonder, like, do you want a congratulations for finally giving a about your own rights? Do you want a cookie? If you are new to this space and you voted for that orange, I want you to stay. I do. And I want you to stay in this space until the next election, bitch, because we can't have you doing this shit again. Because if you're starting to feel tired about all your rights getting scaled back, girl, imagine how we feel. I know empathy might be new to you, but we've been experiencing these emotions and these fears that you're just now starting to experience for about the last decade. I think a big part of it is like looking to immediately be welcomed and forgiven. And I'll be honest, I can't speak for everyone else, but because I want you in this space and I want more people to be more left-leaning, but I don't forgive you for the choices that you've made. I'm not going to try to make you feel better for doing what you've done and living the life that you've lived and voting to make decisions that are actively making my life worse. If you're looking for someone to help you manage your guilt, please take that up with your therapist and leave Black people alone. And while I am talking mostly about the people who I've been seeing primarily talking about regretting their vote, y'all who voted to cancel out your husband's vote, this is about you too. Because bitch, what the hell? I don't feel any safer around you than the women who voted for Trump. Because what the hell do you mean that you're going to bed every single night, that you've chosen a life partner who doesn't believe in your bodily autonomy? I don't trust your decision-making process. But it kind of feels like finding out your man's best friend might have actually assaulted someone. While yes, it wasn't your man who did it, you feel weird about it, no? You feel weird about the fact that why is someone that I'm with okay with being close to someone so awful? It feels weird. That's the energy that y'all bring. I appreciate you canceling his vote, but why?
Would you even be with someone?
I've always known that solidarity and allyship are kind of a myth, but I still believe really strongly that that's actually the only way forward. But I think a solid step would be entering the space without the declaration of your ex-racism and just getting to it. You know what I'm saying? Give a fuck about some people and their rights and just start from there. You know what I'm saying? Learn, read, grow, garden, because food is about to get expensive as hell. The streets are saying that we might have given up on y'all because it is really interesting and kind of exhausting feeling like you care more about other people's rights and well-being more than they do, and certainly more than they care about yours. And then when shit hits the fan, they weirdly have this expectation of you to still fix it. We already did our part and there's nothing left for us to do. I hope you're safe and I hope you're well, and I hope that we can find a way to be in allyship moving forward. I just needed to rant. I just wanted to yap. And because this is my YouTube channel and I already had some clothes and a little bit of makeup on, I'm going to do that right now with this poorly realized script and a dream. That was a joke. I've seen what y'all do to niggas with dreams. It's just human nature. These expectations that you have of people to be tolerant of your intolerance is insane. I don't even know how this video is going to turn out. I don't know how much editing I'm going to do. I'm just as interested as you are to see the final product. It's going to be a surprise for us all. 2015 defines the concept of advocacy fatigue as the increased strain on emotional, physical, material, social, and wellness resources that comes from continued exposure to system inequalities. But like I said, at the end of the day, I am happy that you've seen the light. I want you to take full responsibility for the guilt and feelings that you're feeling. Just be normal. Like, I have to still come to terms with how exhausting it is to be a black girl in this country, because what the hell? You voted for a man before he went for sentencing over a black woman who was qualified for the job. So what was the point of this video and what is the wrap up? Happy that you've wisened up. Sorry that you regret your vote. You're still a dumbass. And that, my friends, is the video. Me and the most leftist audience that you've ever seen are grateful that you watched. And like I said, this video was a little bit impromptu, a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a song. That is a Bo Burnham reference.
For like 20 minutes, it was kind of a rant, kind of a song.
And I am curious how you feel about it. If there's any ex-racists that are looking for atonement, please do that here in the comments. Please do let me know how you feel about anything I said in the comments, if you agree, if you disagree, if you've been seeing these kind of comments on TikTok and how they make you feel, if you've ever left these kind of a comment. I'm curious. I want to have the discussion with y'all. It feels very weird to not be holding the mic, so don't get used to this. This was an impromptu thing and I could not be bothered to find my phone or my socks. But as always, if you've made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.